Welcome back. You're listening to Houston Real Estate Radio. I'm your host, Shannon Register, and every week we bring you news and information you can use on your next real estate transaction. We've got a great show lined up for you today. A lot of it's going to be stuff you can use on your next transaction, on your next purchase, and things that you're definitely going to want to know if you're a seller too. Whether you're buying a resale home or new construction home, we've got a lot of great information today. I'm starting off the hour here with Rhondalyn Riley. Rhondalyn is a home inspector. She owns Exterior Inspections. Her company's been around for 17 years, over 17 years, and she's also an instructor over at Champion School of Real Estate. She teaches realtors about inspectors, and she teaches other inspectors to be inspectors. So she really knows her stuff, and we've had her on the show before, and she gives a lot of great information. So welcome to the show, Rhondalyn.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
So I want to start off, later in the show, we're going to have Sheila Blake on talking about codes and how builders have to really follow code guidelines for the city and the county that they're in. And I want to talk about the difference between the type of inspections that you do. So that's one of the things that I want to talk about today. And also I want to talk about the reason why buyers get inspections. I was doing an intermediary transaction the other day. And on an intermediary, the realtor's working both sides, the buyer and the seller. And so the buyer didn't have any repairs negotiated, and we kind of got to the end of it, and they said, what was the point of doing the inspections, and the point of it was so that you know what you're buying. To me, the inspection isn't about, and I think a lot of people get confused about this, the inspection isn't about finding what's wrong with it so the seller can fix it. The inspection is about finding what's wrong with it so you know your house, you know what's wrong with it, you can plan ahead for things that may go out in a year or two, or may need to be addressed in the next few years, and so that you know what's safe about the house and what's not safe and needs to be addressed before you even move in.
That's exactly it. What I tell people is that the home inspection is a general, comprehensive overview of the condition of the structure that they're looking to purchase. It is, it is how is it currently performing? What are the potential outlay costs down the line? Immediate cost as well as future costs. So that they can make the best educated decision on that purchase for themselves.
I've even seen some buyers say, "Well, it's going to need a new roof in a couple of years." Well, you really don't know if it's going to need a new roof in a couple of years, but it eventually is going to need a new roof. But your seller is selling it as is, but it gives you a guideline, some sort of time frame just to know what's coming down the road for that house.
Well, and the thing about the inspection report itself, if nobody ever reads the canned rhetoric on the very first page, but on that first page of the promulgated inspection report form, or the report, the Texas Real Estate Commission really pretty much outlines the scope of the inspection for the buyer. And what it says is that even if there are deficiencies noted during the inspection, that there is no one obligated to make a repair as a condition of the sale.
Right.
That's why it's so important for the buyer to understand the condition of the property that they're buying and whether or not it's something that they are willing to live with.
At that price point.
That's right.
And moving forward. I think that the things that fall under safety are important to fix. What are some of those things on a general inspection that you feel are safety issues that need to be addressed?
Well, so our inspection is conducted in accordance with a minimum standard of care as outlined by the Texas Real Estate Commission, and it's called our standards of practice. And so there are some things in that standards of practice that the Texas Real Estate Commission mandate us to mark as deficient, and a lot of that stuff is safety related. So electrical, for example, ground fault circuit interrupters, or otherwise known as GFCIs or GFIs. Arc fault circuit interrupters, those are to protect against arcing and fire. Then things like windows that open in bedrooms. Do the doors have double key deadbolt locks on them? We would require that to be marked as deficient, because obviously in the event of a fire, you want to be able to get out of the house.
Right.
Paths of egress are fall hazards. Like, are the stairs constructed in accordance with safe, recognized industry standards? Even, some of those items would be called out if they don't meet current standards or current codes. Mm-hmm. Not that we're code inspectors, but because those things are so important for the safety of for the occupants.
And some of the codes, if a house doesn't meet the current code guidelines, that doesn't necessarily mean it's not safe. It just means it doesn't meet whatever the current guidelines are. It met the guidelines from when the house was built. Is that right?
That's right. We do not do code inspections. I mean, there are going to be instances where we call something out as, in the inspector's reasonable opinion or reasonable judgment, this poses a safety hazard.
And at what point does the buyer look further than this kind of general overview inspection and get a more specific inspection? So, for example, a foundation inspection or a roof inspection or an HVAC inspection. What is the wording on the inspection forms report that they get that's going to indicate to them they need to go and get it professionally inspected?
Well, so just because the deficient box is checked doesn't necessarily mean, number one, that a system is not capable of performing its intended function. Mm-hmm. Let's just get that out of the way first. And then secondly, if there are conditions that are substantial or significant enough to warrant further investigation or a more comprehensive, thorough investigation by a licensed professional or specialist, mm-hmm. generally speaking, the inspector is going to specifically say that in the report.
Okay.
Because, we have our guidelines, our standards of practice, mm-hmm. right? The things that the state tells us we have to look for. And if we have enough evidence that we feel like it's warranted, again, in the inspector's reasonable judgment,
right.
then they're going to call out or recommend that you get a foundation specialist or a licensed air conditioning and heating person. There's even going to be times, for example, when personally I'll look at a heating system and an air conditioning system, and there may be a general note in my report that just says that it's important that you have that equipment service before every heating season and every cooling season.
Mm-hmm. And that's just general maintenance.
Yes.
That every homeowner should be doing. So, on foundations, I know sometimes there are questions over a foundation, whether it could have something wrong with it or not. When that happens, do you recommend a foundation company or do you recommend a structural engineer? Just in your opinion, which do you think is better to call out?
Well, I think it's always best to call out someone who is independent. Mm-hmm. And so by using a foundation company, they have a vested interest. And I promise you, they don't send out the engineer to evaluate the foundation. They send out the sales guy. Mm-hmm. So I liked an independent engineer to evaluate it.
Okay, which is like a structural engineer, an engineering firm?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then on the roof, it's interesting because there's no license to be a roofer. So how do you know if if the person you're calling to fix the roof is a really good roofing company?
Well, this is the thing, is that you can call a roofing company to do a comprehensive inspection, or you can call an inspector who specializes in roof covering materials and roof inspections, again, to get that objective third-party opinion. And, some of those inspectors even will help write a repair scope. Mm-hmm. But normally, if you see on an inspection report that there are enough deficiencies that someone would call out a specialist, at that point, it's probably time to just go ahead and resolve to the fact that you're going to have to replace the roof because, mm-hmm. You repair it only so long.
Right. Right. All right. Well, we're going to have to go to a break here in just a minute. Just a reminder out there to everyone listening that you can go to HoustonRealEstateRadio.com and watch this video, and all the shows that we have are all archived there on the website. And you can like us on Facebook to get weekly updates on what's going on here at the show. I'm going to be right back with Rhondalyn Riley. We're going to talk a little bit about new construction and hit on some of the exterior inspections that you can do on your home, like a stucco inspection, some of the other things. Rhondalyn, if anybody out there needs a home inspection, how can they find you?
They can reach me by calling 281-353-8686. My office manager will be happy to help them.
All right, Rhondalyn Riley with Exterior Inspections. We'll be right back here on Houston Real Estate Radio.
RREA Media has an exciting new product available to companies and organizations who are teaching classes and want to offer those classes online. Introducing Easy Distance Learning. Easy Distance Learning is a video-based distance learning system that allows companies and organizations to leverage their existing classroom content into a broader reach and increased revenues. Did you know that the rate of growth of distance learning is 10 times that of classroom education? And 66% of chief academic officers think distance learning is critical to their long-term strategy. Right now, 33% of higher education students are taking at least one online class. Companies and organizations not offering a distance alternative to in-class instruction risk being left behind. Video-based distance learning has three basic components: classroom capture, post-production, and content distribution. Easy Distance Learning is a comprehensive and modular system that covers all three components that can help your organization with what you are missing in offering a quality and convenient online learning experience. You choose the parts you need help with. Easy Distance Learning offers another revenue stream, a broader reach of your existing content, and a professional presentation with a great learner experience. Contact us today for a free estimate and see how Easy Distance Learning can take your company or organization to the next level.